Hi, I messed up. You see, I took some time off from Genshin to finish making my other 3 videos, and when I came back, this happened. Okay, I missed out on a lot of stuff. I need to catch up, event. Oh my god, I've been away for so long that this thing has come. Oh my god. Dorico's adventure, leaving the moonlight. I don't have enough time to get the. Oh god. Whatever. Okay, I'll be fine.
12 seconds later.
I can't believe I'm missing out on these mini wishes. Okay. It's fine. Take a deep breath. Despite this tragedy, I had to continue on. After all, I had to defend a guy I barely knew in court using evidence that didn't make any sense. Yeah, you can already tell that this is going to be an easily winnable case. Okay, let's go for trial.
The wind rises.
Oh, first need to capture this view. Damn nice.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing.
I say we just leave Linny and run. Honestly, we didn't deal with the loan sharks. We can just not deal with this too.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands.
Our support is what's gonna keep them from going to jail. Okay.
Finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
Splendid.
Now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present,
Oh,
I
shit.
declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session.
What? Where did all these people come from?
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Furina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying.
Oh shit, she's doing the Phoenix Wright pose.
There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
You know, they're like 50 feet apart from each other and still they're able to hear each other clearly.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
As you can see, we had a great start to the trial with our client blatantly lying to everyone present. Thanks to this, we were immediately hated by the audience and the AI judge started the process of forming a guilty verdict.
Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid.
Smash. Rock solid. Are you hinting at something else? Despite Furina being a Hydro character, she decided to burn our case further by dropping this bomb on us.
Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth? The House of the Hearth?
Oh shit, what? The Fatui? What? Wait, what?
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute.
Oh my god. I'm still processing the fact that the Fatui Um, damn. Okay, I'm done processing.
The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting in Discord, I suppose.
Discord.
This was
She's a Discord moderator. Now she's definitely gonna lose.
Are these claims true?
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
Yeah, so it turns out that defending a guy we knew nothing about maybe wasn't a good idea after all. And since Silent Man has been fighting the Fatui since the beginning of the game, naturally, he got pissed. But instead of ending the twins' life at that moment with his deadly finger gun, he decided to call for a break instead and have a discussion with his clients. You know, something that he should have done before the trial. Oh, he's got that angry Asian mom
Well,
look.
This is...
The twins gave us a few sorries and a quick explanation of why they're in the Fatui when they're not even fat.
You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too.
Oh, it suddenly turned to afternoon. After hearing all this, Silent Man actually did something smart and asked Linny what the f he was doing during the trick.
We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Wait, he vented? Linny used the vents to get to another room? Linny sus? Among...
As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
Oh, the whole thing about the water rising and killing everyone? After Lenny's explanation that he couldn't have committed this crime because he was too busy committing another crime, the game presented us with a tough choice.
But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Ha! Did you actually think that the game would let us choose? Ah, that's cute. Anyway, with Linny's new story, we went back outside to continue the trial.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial.
Instead of making us watch characters argue with each other for half an hour, the game decided to let us get involved in the trial by adding a mini game where we could poke holes in Furina's statement. Use evidence and clues during the investigation to refute... I can't read all of this. Basically, accuse them of being idiots.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linny red-handed.
I just freaking one-punched him.
Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands. before operating the devices such that Cowl's death would be ruled an accident.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Furina's description of the events?
Nope, not at all. Death penalty now.
According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath. Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
I mean, we're relying on his statement.
When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
Bravo, Paimon.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
We've only known you for a day, dude. After we finished refuting her statement, instead of giving us an award and sending us home, we were very rudely asked to give our own explanation for what else could have happened.
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's really no way I can go wrong.
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought? Paimon thinks there's something off here. That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent.
Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Oh, we now have to discern who the murderer is? Okay.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Despite our best efforts, we reached a roadblock.
Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
We had no idea where the girl could have gone.
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff.
And all hope was lost. That was until Paimon conveniently said the right words to trigger a big brain moment.
But it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold it.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
There's only one thing left.
The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment.
We actually know someone who can transform into water.
Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
Turns out, asking to examine Cowell's items was a great idea, since he apparently never made a proper attempt to hide anything incriminating. Which is why the guards found
several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea.
They also found out that Cowell was living his Walter White fantasies by making and selling drugs with an accomplice. I wonder if that will show up later on. Anyway, remember earlier when there was also this mini mission in which we gave everyone pamphlets warning them about the fact that the water around Fontaine might rise someday and kill them all? Yeah, so apparently I was wrong. The water doesn't just wash you away, it fucking dissolves you if you're from Fontaine. Sadly, we didn't get to randomly chuck water at the audience to test out this theory. So we just proceeded with the case, while using the water as evidence.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Order! Order!
God damn. Yes, I listened to you.
Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
That works.
In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
However, things were going a bit too smoothly, and that's when another bomb was dropped on us. But this time, it wasn't from Furina.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case, and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What? That can't be.
Someone planted it on him.
Oh, I own counterattack only to come back and wound you. My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
Uh-oh.
Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here.
Oh no. Now we were really screwed. There was no way we could get out of this. It was Jover. That was until Navia conveniently did this.
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on
These two chads, man.
But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila.
What?
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, so it turns out we were wrong about multiple things. Firstly, this girl's name isn't even Halsey, it's Lillian, and she isn't even from Fontaine. Secondly, she's a professional thief who stole a ticket from someone else. Thirdly, we ran into her when we first came to Fontaine. Fourthly, she beat the shit out of Carl and stuffed him into the box without knowing it would kill him, which is quite badass actually. And finally, she was able to hide in the opera house for 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
How did she show up there when all like 5 of us were there, take 2 macarons and leave without no one noticing? And the only reason she got caught was because
I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial.
Amazing. Anyway, now that we had her story, Furina's argument was basically dissolved.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowl. Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened.
Yeah, you don't need to hear this, since the man with the silky voice goes over the sequence of the events.
Now then, Lady Furina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Furina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended, As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Liliane was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box. Liliane, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. While there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
ChatGPT is compiling the answer.
As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Wow, what a great trial. We walked in there basically knowing nothing and somehow managed to win. But a win's a win. And now we could finally leave.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage? I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
What? I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
Whoa, Cowell's accomplice was actually present in the court the entire time. How convenient. Let's see if he reveals who he's working for.
Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Splendid.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
Pick robots. Nice. After that entire mess, we tried to leave the courthouse before someone else asked us to be their lawyers. But as we were leaving, we were stopped by Linny, who was still feeling very guilty about lying to us. He wanted to tell us about his and his sister's backstory. Now, the story is a bit dark, so I'll just let him speak for himself.
I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
God damn.
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood. And the knave, standing there in the darkness. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I had just been betrayed by nobles, but she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
I still can't completely trust you.
It's alright, I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the house, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
Bye, Linny!
Okay, now I think we can actually leave.
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Come on, man.
Yeah, so now we are trying to talk us into continuing the serial disappearances case with her. But Silent Man was so done with everyone and everything that he wanted to disappear himself.
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now?
I mean, we just show up in any nation and solve all their decade-long problems. I don't see why this is any different. Navia didn't like this though and invited us to dinner with her before we left.
Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
And I have a very strong feeling that the farewell dinner is gonna lead to us solving the disappearances case. But we'll save that for later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.